Hello and welcome to another Every Tuesday tutorial. This week I'm really excited because we are covering one of my favorite topics, and that is watercolor textures. So we are going to be creating all the watercolor textures you see in front of you, not using watercolors. So it's really cool and a super fun technique to try out. So all of these were accomplished using brush pens, and the brush pens that we're going to be using are these ones by Stationery Island. So we're going to walk through all of these techniques to create each one of these. So these brush pens are really cool because they come in a bunch of colors. The ink is super vibrant. Like, you get outcomes that my regular watercolors can't even achieve. It's so vibrant and so beautiful. And this is an awesome starter set if you're just getting into watercolor with brush pens, because it comes with a water brush. So these are, if you've never used a water brush before, all you have to do is unscrew it. You put it underneath your faucet, you fill it up with water, you cap it back off, and then whenever you need a little bit of water on your brush, you just squeeze the chamber right here and it comes right out the end. Piece of cake. So we are going to be using this set, and we're just going to jump right in and get started. So the very first trick we're going to go over is this one. So it's more of kind of like an atmospheric texture. It feels a little more dreamy. So we are going to be using a plastic baggie that's just like a sandwich bag. You could also use saran wrap or wax paper or any kind of non-porous substrate for this. So what we're going to do is just grab some colors that are similar to each other. If you use colors that are too opposite, like a blue and an orange, they're gonna mix together and get kind of muddy. So you wanna make sure that you're using colors that are kind of along the same family. So we're gonna be using a blue, a dark blue, a purple, and a pink. You can use opposite colors. You just want to make sure that you keep them away from each other. So even when water is involved, they don't bleed into each other. So I think this is pretty good. Let's throw in a red too. All right, so I usually start with the lightest color first, and you just want to, just color right on top of the baggie. So I'm just putting this color. You can draw different shapes and swirls, and then grab your next color. So I'm going to have red, but I'm going to kind of keep it away from blue. I think the dark blue, it'll get a little muddy, even though it should make purple. I think this red is a little too rich for the kind of purple that I would want to be going for. So I'm just going to keep red up here, and then I'm going to grab my purple because I know purple and red, they do okay. So I'm just going to put a few spots up there and keep the majority of it down here. We'll put the light blue up here because I know the light blue and the red will look good together, and then put the rest of it down here, and then we'll just throw in a little bit of dark blue for fun. Just keep that over here for a little variety. All right, so now that we have our baggie that has all this color on it, hopefully you can see all that. I've got my Canson watercolor paper. It's really important that you use watercolor paper for this, otherwise it just won't look right and your paper will warp and then it just won't dry very beautiful. So I've got this. I'm just kind of judging to see how much water I need to put on here. I'm gonna grab a bigger piece of paper. All right. So I'm just kind of seeing, I'm not setting this on top of the paper, I'm just seeing how big of a spot I need. And I'm just gonna take the water brush, and you're just going to squeeze out some water and paint it. And you don't want like a giant puddle of water on your paper. You just want enough so your paper's kind of shiny. So I think I've got enough surface area covered right here. And then what you want to do is just grab your baggie, flip it over so the ink is going to touch the water. And then you're just going to place it on top. And then you want to rub it around real quick. And that will spread all the watercolors, so then you don't get these like splotches of where you colored on the baggie. You want it all to mix together. And there's no mess here. Your hands aren't going to get wet at all. Okay, and you could let it dry if you like that kind of texture. I like it being a little softer, so I'll pull this up while it's still wet. So I'm going to set this aside for now. We're going to revisit it once it's all dry. Okay, so trick number two. Trick number two is kind of a gradient or ombre kind of look to this. So this one's really fun too. What you want to do is grab 3 colors. That seems to work the best for me. And I always put my lightest color in the middle, so it kind of like fades into light and then goes dark, from dark to light to dark. So we're gonna grab our We're gonna do this one just so it's nice and bright. We'll use some green over here. So I've got yellow, green, and I'll use a dark blue so it's a little more obvious than it is right here. And all you're gonna do is first color in your light color, and you want this color to take up the most amount of space. So this one's the kind of widest right here. And it's okay if it's not super dense with the color. All you need is, you know, just a soft color right there, and that's enough. These are really forgiving. So then you want your next color that it's going to blend into. You want to make sure, once again, that you're using colors within the same family. That way the blend is seamless and you don't get any ugly colors. So I'm just going to do this one just a couple of passes right here, not nearly as wide as our middle color. And then our last color, I'm touching each color to the next one right here. It'll just make for a more seamless blend. All right. So now we're going to take our water brush, and you're just going to come from here down. And now I've got a paper towel right here, and I'm actually going to wipe off the tip of the water brush, because once I get into the yellow, I want to make sure I still get a lot of yellow. And if I pull too much green into the yellow, I'm going to get a lot less yellow. So I still want a nice blend right here, but I didn't want quite as much green on the tip of my brush. And now you can flip it around. You're going to do the same thing. So we're going to come from blue, get it into green, and I'm just giving it a light squeeze to add a little extra water to the tip as I work. And then it's going to blend all the way down. And if you wanted the blue to blend into the green even more, you want to take it from this direction down. Instead of from the top to the bottom, you want to go from the middle to the bottom or the middle to the top. So then I'll come from the yellow and come down this way. And that will just blend the blue and the green a little further together if I wanted to go up instead of down. So just be aware, you've got some options right here with how much you want your last color, how vibrant you want that one to be, or if you want more of a blend right here. So that's really pretty, and then you could put some lettering on here, you could scan it in, use it as a background. There's a lot of possibilities with this. So the last option is the super vibrant background color. So I love making these. This is one of my favorite tricks. And these brush pens make it super easy to make this. So once again, you want to choose colors that are similar to each other. So we're going to do this one. Let's do like blues and yellows and green for this. All right, so what you want to do, I grab my lightest color first to get things started. And you just want to lay it in little blocks of color. So I don't do swirls or anything with this. I just lay blocks of color in. And just bring this down a little bit. And my big tip is that as you're laying this color down, you kind of want the blocks to touch each other. You don't want like a block right here and then nothing touching it, because it won't blend as well once you've got your water involved. With a bunch of experiments that I've tried, I found that this kind of technique works the best for me. So now we grab our water brush. I'm going to clean off the end a little bit on this paper towel, and then you're just going to give it a squeeze, and you're going to start with kind of a circular motion, and you just want to blend these in. And as I get closer to like the yellow, where I want to make sure the yellow appears, if I mix too much green and blue into the yellow at once, then I'm not going to have the yellow kind of showing through the texture. So I'll just give it a quick wipe on the paper towel to clean off the tip of the brush, and then go just to the lighter color and work my way out. That way I still pick up those areas of lightness despite having a bunch of darker colors around it. So I'm just kind of moving in a circular motion and squeezing the water brush from time to time just to get the end nice and saturated for the color. And then I'll move the paper around and kind of go around. I don't go all at once, all across everything. I kind of work in little areas at a time, and that gives me really good results too. And I'm constantly cleaning the tip of the brush. That way my colors don't get muddy as I mix and I come around here. Okay, and these dry really fast because you're not using too much water. You're just using the amount of water that you need, which makes the water brush ideal for this kind of technique. and then you just let it dry, and look at how pretty that is. We get so much color variety, and I've found I get way more color variety, especially for textures, than I do even using regular watercolors. These brush pens are like changing my world when it comes to watercolor textures. They are so fun. So make sure you get your hands on some and really start experimenting. The links to everything mentioned in this video are right in the video description, so just click on that link. You'll have access to the brush pens, the water brush, the watercolor paper. That's really all you need. So once again, the first trick was kind of an atmospheric look, so much lighter, so there's a lot more water than there is ink right here, but I love the look of that too. Our second trick was ombre or gradient. This works really well if you want to put lettering on top or scan it in for a background texture. And then this one is our super vibrant texture, which is really fun for anything. So that is 3 tricks on how to create watercolor textures using brush pens and no watercolors. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe, and don't forget to head on over to my blog, every-tuesday.com, for even more design and lettering tutorials. For more on textures and lettering, be sure to head on over to my Instagram. My handle is @everytuesday. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.